Going on? So I wasn't going to record any of this, and so I didn't. But I thought that I would make a really good point about what I like to call the infinite damage meta. A lot of people have talked about toxic cards. And oh, I don't like playing a toxic deck. And what they mean by that is like a deck that affects your opponent. So like when the other person is playing Shaman, when the other person is playing Witch, when the other person is playing Sharpshooter, when the other person is playing Enchant Sword. I don't like playing against a toxic deck. Toxic decks are dumb, right? I feel like that's the normal discourse of just people in general. And I've always said, and I made a video about this a long time ago about why they shouldn't nerf Witch. You can look back on it. But I stand by that video. And the reason why I said that was because if you could not affect your opponent, then the entire game would just become who deals the most damage. And that has a very clear winner. Who deals the most damage is very determinable. It's very like standard static fact. Because the same people were saying like, oh, King Pudding shouldn't like, do the effect immediately. Like if you immediately kill it, it shouldn't do anything as with every boss like Dark Priest and Tribunal, right? Tribunal, if you can actually kill without it doing the effect. But for a really long time, we just all assumed that it just does the effect immediately. But you can, if you can kill it quick enough, you can kill it quick enough and it won't merge you down. But for the longest time, and this was a meta like a really long time ago, and it was the meta for a really long time, it was the Corsair meta. You can look up old videos for it. Corsair decks did billions upon billions of damage because it was infinite damage. And the only deck that could beat a Corsair deck was a Corsair deck. This was before Dark Priest, before King Pudding, before everything. And that was the best deck. And I argued that Witch, because it affects your opponent, it allows decks that don't have that card to exist. I decided to start playing PvP in order to get the legendary trophy, or the legendary item, the legendary hero, the legendary card. And I just wanted to get to this rank. I was previously in this one, and I was facing against people who I could beat with like Wind Archer decks and Engineer decks, right? I thought that, going up one league would still be relatively easy for tournament and for events. And I thought that if I just stayed here, I would be fine. I was not fine. I'm going to show you two battles. The spoiler alert, I win both of them, but one was definitely much harder than the other one. And the reason why is because we were not trying to affect the other person's board. I could not get a red sword, and even when I did, he was immediately cleansing it. And then, so it didn't matter because we are in an infinite damage cleansing meta, right? And I didn't have Sharpshooter. So these are the two battles. Actually, this was my last battle. This was pretty fun. I'll show you this one really quick. I was like, oh no. But I was like, nah, I should probably win this. This should be fine. I got the Blade Dancer and I got the Portal Keeper, and I was like, and then he just quit. I was like, oh, cool, awesome. And after the two battles that I'm going to show you, that was a very much needed break. So this is the first one that I played, and I thought that I was going to go up against something, I don't know, reasonably dumb, right? This is a level 15 gadget with a max cultist. His equipment is terrible. Maybe his crit percentage is bad. I can't remember. But this goes on for freaking ever. And the reason why is because both of us are basically just pure damage decks. Neither of us is running Witch or Shaman or Sharpshooter. And again, I have Enchant Sword, but I don't have I don't get a lot of red swords. I get a bunch of blue swords, and so I'm able to buff myself, but I don't necessarily affect him all that much, and he can cleanse it as quick as a person can. So that's also not going to affect him. So I'm just going to let you watch this video. It's really long. I mean, I guess you can see that on your scroll bar there, that this is a really long video. But yeah, this just keeps going. Because this is what would happen if you didn't affect your opponent. If you didn't affect your opponent, you would just go for as long as you possibly could. I even tried to affect him, because I have Petrify, the Petrify Stone, and I thought that if I do it to where he has like a center cultist, like that's level 5, I thought that if you Petrify Stoned it, that it would shut down the ones around it, because then you wouldn't have the T set up, and especially if you got the center one, it would shut down the left and the right one. It does not do that. That's not how it works. It still exists underneath it. It just can't attack. So, in case you were ever wondering, that's your lesson for this video. If you can't affect your opponent's board, this is what happens. When both of you have an equal strength deck, and you know, like, you can cleanse effects and you can deal infinite damage. If one person can't affect the other person's board, then the person with the better damage is just gonna win. And I was pretty sure that it was going to be him, because he has Scrapper. And it's Cultist, and I know that Cultist is insane. And he has the ability to cleanse, and he can make everything on his board a level 7. And essentially, I played this game out thinking that I was probably going to lose. I think the only reason why I even won was because I just have better equipment. I mean, it's possible that I might have just a better crit percentage as well. But he has a better gadget, and the gold tile gadget is really good, because I don't think it gives him any good squares. I think he only gets him on the corners, which is really awkward for him. But if he got a double, like a square in the center or something, that's double the bonuses. You're getting double attack speed and double strength. Like, I'm trying so hard to get my gadget to 15, and it's just a struggle to go from 13 to 14. Let alone from 14 to 15. Like, to start at 0 again and then have to get, like, I don't know, 60 shards. Whatever it's gonna be. I have to get 54 shards for 13. 13 to 14. Like, people want to live in a world where you can't affect your opponent. And this is what it looks like. You just have to deal infinite damage. You have to deal more damage than your opponent. And you just have to keep playing, like, these 20-minute games. Every single game. Like, can you imagine, like, just every single game that you ever play, you have to play like 30-minute games. Like, I feel like you would just burn out of this game so fast if you had to do this every single game. Like, I have to play 5 matches in PvP. Or, I mean, in tournament. Specifically in tournament. And if each of those games go on for, like, 30 minutes... And you had to do this, like, every day for, like, 2 or 3 days. I mean, sure, you could play, like, Plunder. And as the days go on, I think Plunder becomes much better. But very first day, I think that if you just win all 5 of your games, you get a better score than if you Plunder. But I don't know. I think I'm going to get Plundered, or I think I'm going to play... I played the 3 games and I won all 3. And I think later tonight, I'm probably going to Plunder because somebody's going to Plunder me. So I'm probably going to Plunder the last 2. And I think that's the strategy. To just Plunder at the end of the day after somebody... Or with the... Like, keeping your score low enough. And then at the end of your day, like, Plundering. I don't know. I haven't found a, like, numerical strategy for this early. Mostly because, like, I'm usually in the top, like, 5 people in my clan. And so I never feel like my score is the thing that's making us lose. It's like, oh, maybe if I plundered better, maybe if I had a better strategy. It's like, no, it's the 20 people that aren't participating in this tournament that are making us lose. I don't know why I'm not switching stuff here. Oh, there it goes. There we go. It's like I woke up or something. Oh, see, that's where I did the Petrify Stone, and I thought that it would shut it off, and then he just insta-killed the boss, and I was like, oh, I guess that's not how it works. I thought that doing it like 10 seconds in the previous round would make it build up enough for the boss, and it just doesn't work like that. There's a point where I get stuck, I think it's right here, where my board is just stuck, and I have no idea what to do. Maybe it's not here. There's definitely a point where my board gets stuck and I have no idea what to do. And then we start going into triple bosses. And then I just go board crazy. I just start merging everything. Like single swords, double swords, like awakened swords. Like, I just don't care at that point. If you can believe it, Cultist isn't even the best deck. Like, this deck is gonna make it... See, like, right here, he gets puddinged, but all he has to do is sacrifice the Cultist to the ritual, and then everybody gets cleansed. It's basically just as broken as Cultist, or as Inquisitor, Light Inquisitor. And then anything that's not a cultist, he can just eat with the scrapper. It's great. It's a great deck. But it's not, I'm saying it's not even the best deck. The best deck is probably Light Inquisitor. It's just generically stronger. And you don't have to scrapper like so many things. And then the deck has the flexibility of running other things. Like, it can run an enchant sword, and it could run, or it could run a trapper, or it could run sharpshooter. Because you have to be able to affect your opponent. If your deck can deal damage And if it can cleanse, then you have to affect your opponent. I think that's like the tier list for what why you're losing if you're losing. Because the best decks can do all three. I think it's right here. Like my board, I'm just kind of stuck here. I could use the Dryad on something, but my summon-in isn't going to be good. Like I have no idea what I would want if I use the Dryad on the sword. I don't want to merge out any of my Blade Dancers with the orbs, because I don't know which one is like close enough to get to 10. And which one is maybe a 1, you know? I wish there was a way to tell that, but I'm not hoping for it. It's totally fine that there isn't a way. But I'm basically just stuck here. And it's not a terrible place to be stuck, but it's not great, because you always want to be doing stuff. And I have 61,000 mana that I have no idea what to do with. Because if it starts dropping off like it is right here, I was so happy about that, like that sword hit, like the red guy killing the sword, and then I could just get another sword. I'm like, okay, well, I'm still here. It's really funny. It's like I get to this really late part of the game, and I'm just like, I hope the red guy hits something useful. Like if it hit the sword and then I got a Dryad or a Harlequin, I could have upgraded the level 2, had 2 extra spaces. Like I could still keep going. There was a part of me that every time I switched, because the red guy hits like a level 3 a number of times, and I feel like I should have let it go, so that I could merge the level 2 out to become a level 3 something else, like anything else. But I end up never letting it happen. I was pretty sure I was going to get Assassin there. This helps me. As much as like a Tribunal hurts, I still have my Portal Keepers at the same levels, so that didn't affect me too much. Like I didn't need to get Dryads to get the Portal Keepers back up. So just having everything get leveled down, it gave me a little bit more idea that I could probably merge out things with the Awakened Sword Orbs. During this next boss, or like right here, I guess, is where I just start merging everything. I'm just like, I need to do stuff, and I'm just gonna merge that, give him some red orbs. I'm gonna merge that. I'm gonna upgrade that. Merge that. Merge that. I was like, I just need to do stuff. Like, I have so much mana here. I should be doing stuff. Merge that. I'm just doing everything that I can at this point because I know that I'm going to die if it goes to another round. I use the Petrify Stone at some point here. When I started getting Gorgon, I was like, Petrify Stone. Yeah, let's do that. I was able to kill that boss right before the Bedlam hit me. And I'm pretty sure that's what won me the game. Yeah. Yeah, I have like a much higher crit. And I feel like that's the only real reason why I won. But here's another battle, and it's because I started to realize that I was probably going to go up against difficult players. This is a Max Inquisitor with the level 7 gadget. He has a better equipment, but a level 7 gadget is a level 7 gadget. Not having the 10, and I have, you know, it's a 13. So not having the 10 boost, and then not having the 3 more than that is a factor. But Light Inquisitor is one of the best decks in my tier range, where I'm not running like max everything. Light Inquisitor just does everything. You only need the 4 Inquisitors. You just need the 2 Knight statues, and then you can just run infinite of your support card. In his case, he's running a Sharpshooter. I'm sorry, he's running a Trapper, and so he can just run infinite Trappers on the field. Sharpshooter is definitely better, because with Inquisitor, you're gonna go for a very large amount of rounds. And once you start going into double bosses and triple bosses and getting double bonuses and triple bonuses for your Inquisitors, because it's every boss that you kill, you get a % boost. You're going so long, and because you have the ability to make all of your Inquisitors a level 7, and you're getting just infinite boosts every time you get a boss kill, it's one of the best decks. To where I don't think you need the extra damage and slow with Trapper. You just need to affect your opponent with Sharpshooter. Trapper just stacks damage. Yes, it slows, but essentially what you're using it for is to stack damage. And like I said, damage, cleansing effects, and affecting your opponent. You will lose because you don't have one of those 3. Inquisitor gives you really good damage. Using the Knight statue gives you attack speed and crit chance, which also gives you damage. The purification on the Light Inquisitor is the thing that makes it amazing, but he's not affecting his opponent. And so he's essentially still trying to win the damage race, and I'm just going to beat him because he's not affecting me and I'm affecting him. I knew that because I don't have swords, I knew that I had to get to at least level 4 Blade Dancers. Where normally I could probably sit on level 3s and not really care, I knew that I had to do I had to build up as much damage as I possibly could. So I wanted to use all my Dryads on just building up level 4s. At the same time, I do know that if I have just more Blade Dancers on the field, those level 4s are going to have higher damage. So at this point, I just start summoning in just level 1s and leaving them. And I do like my sharpshooters at the top. I feel like the travel time when it shoots out the stun shot is less if you have it closer to their field. It might not make too big of a difference, but I know that it makes a difference, so why not? So whenever there are non-squares on the top, I always put my sharpshooters there. In the same way that if you have Trapper, you should probably put it to the left side of your board, because it's gonna... The travel time is gonna be shorter. Also, he's running Mage Robe, which is not great. I have less. I have less mana, so as long as I have the mana to do whatever I want to do, that's not doing anything for me. Whereas I and most people are running Hunter's Jacket, which affects your opponent's attack speed. It's just a flat, you know, thing that is just much better against every deck. I pretty much have my armies of 4 right now. And my next focus should probably be, once it starts going into late game, once it starts going into double bosses and triple bosses, to build up sharpshooters, or to just have sharpshooters on the field. Sometimes I know that I'm going to merge out a sharpshooter, but I'll Harley Quinn a level 1 just to have that extra point of stun. I thought about this way too late, that I could upgrade the Portal Keeper and then save it. And then that's what ended up happening. Technically, I could have also let it go and then just upgraded it with the Dryad. And then I'd still have a level 3. I'm totally fine with that leaving, because I'm not doing anything with it. I'd rather just summon in and get anything else. Right here, I copy a sharpshooter because it's just good to have the extra point of damage, or the extra point of stun. Because now we're going into double bosses. Units get stunned for 6 seconds whenever you kill a boss, and that is pretty detrimental to the second boss coming out. So even if you don't kill it quicker than your opponent, you will kill it, and it'll mess them up for the second boss, which is why this is good. And that was huge. Like, taking out the one Inquisitor was just giant. He doesn't have a level 1 Scrapper. He doesn't merge into a level 1 Inquisitor. And by the time he can finally get one, it's way too late. And he also can't sacrifice it because it would be a level 4. So his 2 that are king pudding. Yeah, this is how you win. And I trust that that was a much shorter game.